And just watching this show alone will not meet your general daily activity, but God, does it help?
Most people in today's world really could benefit from lower intensity, high volume exercise. And instead, what people are opting for after sitting in desks and being very sedentary throughout the day is incredibly high stress and high intensity exercise. That could be the worst thing for you.
Dr. Andrew Huberman, he talks about the blue ball zones.
Welcome back to Show and Tell, where we take a very broad topic, one topic that is going to help you live a healthier, more fun, and more meaningful life. And we break it down. We show you some things about it. We tell you some things about it. SterDawg, what are we getting into today?
Well, hey, bubbers and bubettes. I'm really happy to be here with all y'all. We're getting into...
Was I supposed to intro you?
What's that?
Was I supposed to intro you?
Yeah.
Well, you already know him by now. Some of you might know him a little bit more intimately after watching a particular video.
Yeah, this is our 2 episode anniversary, and what Grant's referencing is my balls was out in the last video. We were doing an instructional movement video, and I was hanging loose.
Yeah, this guy was free balling it, and my job as editor and producer is to make sure that you don't get scarred by any skin. So
healed by it.
So that will not be in the follow along video.
Not yet.
If we might have to create a gate for that, an OF, if you will.
Who will be the keeper?
Dude, these nugget couches, dude.
Am I still in frame?
I don't know if you are.
Is this a motorized recliner?
You were barely in frame right
now,
so just know.
Great success.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, the idea of these nuggets is great. The execution.
Yeah, I mean, sex angles.
All right, good. So
I saw these in the back of a Playboy magazine in like the early 2000s.
Oh my God.
I had a collection
really
in
funny.
the treehouse.
V and I, my beautiful girlfriend V, we did
bless her heart,
a naughty ornament workshop where we sifted through some like old Playboys and Penthouse magazines, and clipped some stuff up. This was last Christmas, and flipping through this, it was super funny. Guess what was in there? I think I showed you this. We have an ornament of it.
Oh, you have it over here?
The torque stick.
Oh yeah, the torque
was
stick.
one of the ads in Playboy, which was hilarious. So, just a little demo here. I'll put down this shaft for another shaft.
Jesus, you make it look so good. I'm so happy I know you. Wait, let me see. So I'll give you my own little demo here.
I'm still trying to figure out oh my God,
dude.
There's another really funny video of Sterling with the torque stick doing his MMA intro.
That's right.
I think we might cut to right now. This episode is already out of hand.
That's right.
So yeah, you might be able to figure out which follow along video Sterling decided to flash everybody on, but do know that you don't actually see anything. I gave him a pair of Mack Weldon underwear, another sponsor of the show. Thank you for keeping us free of any nudity. We really appreciate it.
I love you so much, Mac. All right,
dude. So what are we getting into today?
All right, so just to begin with, since this is our 2-episode anniversary, and just to honor our last episode, I know you can't see my head, which is fucking amazing. I want you to stand up, Grant, because this is what we're going to do. We're going to honor that last episode of bouncing, shaking, and wiggling.
Yeah.
And we're also going to honor this episode. We're going into... What are we going into?
We will be taking you through some general daily activity.
In honor of that, let's go ahead and bounce, shake, and wiggle.
All right, it's part of this episode today too. That's really our trick.
Yeah, let's bring some good noises.
With the outfit that you have, you got to give us that one noise that everybody wants to hear.
Okay. Oh shoot! I thought my genius was showing.
Oh my god! Nice. Hold on. I'm about to get some general daily activity here.
Check out mine.
Oh my god, dude. Let's get into it. So today's topic, general daily activity. Now it's a really serious show. So if you're expecting jokes the entire time, or you were turned off by them, know that we're going to really get serious here. What about general daily activity stands out to you in this very moment?
Yeah, what I would say about general daily activity, it's really just, I like to focus on the not, right? For a lot of things, I don't like to focus on the not. I don't want to do this. I do not want to do this. It's usually, well, what do you want to do? But for general daily activity, I like to focus on the not. And what I don't want to do, what I do not want to do, is just do nothing and not move at all. That's the focus with it. So it's, how do I prevent that? And the prevention is figuring out, for me, right? It could be very simple. You could be taking a walk. It could be playing games with your friends and family. It could be bouncing, shaking, and wiggling. It could be getting up and off of a chair if it even comes down to that.
It could be falling on and off your nugget.
It could be falling for someone you just fucking adore. But what I'm getting at here is this is a talking point I really wanted to bring up, and I didn't want to ruin it and tell Grant early on, even though it was just like sitting in me. I just wanted to share with him so bad. But I'm saving it for this moment. What I do, my strategy for general daily activity, I get pretty creative about it. So I do a job as a personal trainer where I get to demonstrate my exercises.
Sneaky.
Yep. I get to demonstrate my exercises. So I'm getting like movement and activity in while I'm working. And it's not like overboard, like manual labor. I'm not destroying myself. And I get to choose how much I want to get. If they're really good at an exercise, I can stop cueing it and stop just like staring super hard at them for every little thing in their body. And I could just do it with them.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. And so that's one way. The other way is I found a neighbor. With a dog. Yeah. Or maybe the dog with the neighbor found me.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah. And there's a neighbor, there's a dog. And what's the third link? Walking. Right? The dog's got to get walked. That's what I always say. Anyone ask me for advice? I had to cut you off here, my boy.
Oh, He's rolling. Go.
Anyone ever ask me for advice? Doesn't matter what it is. If they're like, hey, I'm in a really tricky situation right now. I just don't feel like I'm at home when I go visit my parents. It doesn't feel like home to me. And I don't know what to do. And I go, hey, there's a dog and a dog's got to get walked. It applies to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go walk the dogs.
Are you walking the dog or is the dog walking you? Sorry, let me pick up the mic and say that again.
That's right.
Are you walking the dog or is the dog walking you? So a couple of great hacks to increase general daily activity. I'm having a really challenging time saying that today. So one of the things I think we can really create a frame for general daily activity, nailed it, is a lot of people silo their activity throughout the day to 1.5 hours. They go to the gym 5 days a week and they literally just show up to the gym, do their workout. Maybe it's lifting weights, maybe it's hopping on the treadmill, taking a class, whatever. But that is it. That is the only work that they get in throughout the day, or only movement that they get in throughout the day. So when we look at that, I mean, that's not really that healthy. We're meant to be moving around and working or using our body for physical labor. And it doesn't mean you have to go get a physical labor job, but this vehicle is meant to move. And so if you are segmenting all of your exercise to 1 hour a day, this podcast is one that you really need to listen up to, because if we can get more of that low intensity, general daily activity throughout your days, throughout the week, that stuff piles up over a month, over a year, over several years. And if you are coming out of, let's say, not the best physical condition, this is something that you can take a long-term approach with. And if you show up for it consistently, you will see results. And I think one of the things that's highlighted so much in training is, oh, you got to train super hard. You got to have this high intensity stuff. And that is accurate in certain circumstances. But for the vast majority of people, to be healthy, all it takes is low intensity activity throughout the day, sprinkled in throughout the day. This could be getting up from your desk and just doing some movement, mobilizing your body, mobilizing your tissues, joints. This could be getting out for a walk. And there's so many different benefits that we'll talk about when it comes to getting outside for a walk. It could be, getting some basic calisthenics in, like some squats, some lunges, some push-ups. If you got a pull-up bar, every time you walk through the doorway, you go 2-3 pull-ups, whatever. That stuff adds up. And so most people in today's world really could benefit from lower intensity, high volume exercise. And instead, what people are opting for after sitting in desks and being very sedentary throughout the day is incredibly high stress and high intensity exercise. I mean, that could be the worst thing for you.
Yeah. In a stuffy gym too.
Yeah.
Like nasty air, artificial lighting.
Going from an office into essentially the same sort of situation where, never really being in the natural environment. I think I heard some sort of stat somewhere that like 2% of people's days are spent outside on average. It's crazy, right? So getting outside obviously is a big benefit. And then, the vast majority of people, even though you might see people exercising at parks or if you live in like a cool town like San Diego or LA or whatever, you go down to the beach, you see a ton of active people. For those people that are active, there's maybe 8 to 10 people that are just sitting at home consuming content. And hopefully it's this.
And just watching this show alone will not meet your general daily activity, but god damn, does it help.
But we're going to give you some things if you do want to get a little general daily activity as you listen to this podcast. Let's give them a few things right here. All right, Sterling. So let's say Jimmy out there is watching or listening to this podcast, and he is
so much, Jimmy.
he is sitting at his desk and he's listening to all this great info about why he should get out. He's listening to all this great stuff about how he should be getting his activity up. What should Jimmy do right now? And I don't mean to should you, Jimmy.
I mean, Jimmy's taught me so much already.
What should Jimmy do right now to get his general daily activity?
Oh, now
up?
I get what you're asking. So, Jimmy, there's no shoulds here. I invite you. Jimmy, I invite you. Take a walk outside. Look at some trees. Maybe pick up a book from the library about the native species of weeds and plants in your area. Go for a nature walk. Identify some of those. I don't do it, but I'm just telling you what you should do because we get hypocritical around here. But yeah, in all seriousness, Yims, Yimmy, I would say best thing you could do would be to do something with another person. Call up a friend. Ask them if they want to just go for a walk around town or maybe walk at a trailhead. Ask them maybe they want to
So
toss
Jimmy's
the
at
frizz.
work right now.
Oh, Jimmy's at work. Okay, Jimmy's at work. Oh, Jimmy's at work.
Jimmy has to make a living.
Jimmy, and we love you for that. You know, you support us.
I'm going to go ahead and answer my own question.
Wait, can I get one more shot? Okay. So I would say that James should probably just every now and then he can get up, he can throw his hands, he can get up, he can throw his hands overhead, he could take some deep breaths, he could shake his body out just at his cubicle. He can do a few air squats. If he's embarrassed, he can go to the bathroom, go in the stall.
Do some of those box squats.
Do some squats. You can go. Like, there's so many options. You mean?
All right, dude. All right, Jimmy, you could stand up right now and you could just march in place.
Oh, yeah. That's
You could march in place and, you know, even if your boss isn't going to let you go out and walk around, I'm going to highlight some of the things he said in that just absolute weeds of an answer. Do some squats, do some air squats, do some lunges. You could do some arm reaches, arm swings, just different things to, again, get that general daily activity up.
Another one, I remember when I had a corporate job, I asked my manager if instead of taking my hour lunch break on some days when I felt like I needed more breaks of general daily activity, GDA, I asked him, could I maybe just go for 5 minutes? Let's see, so 5 times. So it was 1 hour, 5 times. Yeah, we're not doing math here. But I asked, could I, instead of doing the whole hour, could I do little 5-minute increments of stair walking in between just so I wasn't sticky, right? So like on top of the hour, I would leave and do 5 minutes of stair walking. Like there's so many options. You can get creative with it. Going outside for a walk on your lunch break, splitting it. What's so funny? I'm being dialed and focused right now. Is this like so unorthodox?
No, what's so funny is like the prescription, we're trying to overcomplicate it.
Oh, yeah.
Do some basic exercises right by your desk and get outside for a walk. Like that's basically it.
Yeah.
You know? And so, you know, really appreciate you mentioning your corporate job and some of the things that you may have to ask your boss. Be like, hey, this is really important to me. My name is Jimmy, and this is really important to me. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to get outside for a 10, 15-minute walk. And when I worked a marketing job, sitting at a desk a bunch, a few things that I did. Well, this is actually one little artifact that we could grab. And we'll show you some exercises right now. This guy, the Swiss ball, you could sit on this and move around and feel your pelvis and stretch out your hips, whatever.
Yummy.
That's going to be some really good general daily activity. And then I also did like a very makeshift stand-up desk, but you know, I have a stand-up desk here that I bought online for very cheap. So, you know, that stuff is accessible to just kind of keep you moving. I have seen people get those mini treadmills at their desks. Totally. I kind of think it'd be hard to do my work while walking on a treadmill personally, but people do it.
Yeah,
so,
you do it pretty slow, and it's like not writing is pretty rough, but like anything reading, like I don't know.
So you're not supposed to run super fast on it while you're working.
I mean, I feel like you and Jimmy probably could do that. Like you're my heroes, so like I feel like if anyone could do it, it's you and Jimmy. Yeah, I mean, did you see like my recent post where I had to watch my film group movie? I didn't have to. I get to watch my film group movie. But I did have to get it done before the group. And so I just brought it to the rec center and I put it on the treadmill and walked super slow while I watched a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, I think walking on a treadmill, regardless of what you think of that, and be like, oh, it's better to get outside or whatever. Like, yeah,
it was a little battle I had.
Absolutely, but it's not always going to be optimal, right? Yeah. And I think that's an important thing to recognize. Where there's a lot of expectations set by the fitness industry, by health and wellness and biohacking and all this. Like, oh, I need to get outside first thing in the morning. I need to make sure I get sun in my eyes, sun on my skin. Like, this stuff is all great, but if the baseline's not set with simply showing up for some simple walking, moving, stretching, mobilizing throughout the day, that's what comes first. That's like 80-90% of it, and then that last 10% is really the cherry on top, as they say. Yeah, a very healthy, non-pitted, non-sugary cherry, just like one of the ones you get at the farmer's market, and
you just
get the pit and just go, and just watch it go. All right, so I do want to get back to like when I was working at a desk. Like I said, I was able to change the sitting environment to better support a variety of postures, and know that if you have a standing desk, you're probably not going to be able to stand all day. That's okay. Just vary it. That's going to help you just stay somewhat active throughout the day. The other thing is, oh my gosh, dude, I used to walk and get lunch. I'm sure you could say that sandwich down the street, not healthy, whatever. I got outside. I was able to get some sunshine, get some fresh air, and really enjoy my walks, right? I used to do a lot of other stuff as well, bringing bands. I set up a TRX in our office. Like, there's plenty of things that you could do. And what's really awesome about that is if you set up that environment, chances are other people are going to benefit from that as well, and they'll participate. So your environment is really going to shape your habits and your actions. So if you want to get more activity, get some different toys, get some things that are going to promote that, and it's going to promote well-being, mindset, health, energy, all that stuff. So I know we're really focusing on the workplace here, but I know a lot of people are...
It's one of the most important places. A lot of time spent there. Sometimes you could feel like it's a little overboard with like the commercialism and buying every little gadget, but they do kind of help you get after it, because it's like it brings out your inner child, and you're like, all right, let's fuck around with this little piece of equipment and let's move with it.
Yeah.
And it does help. Not that you need them whatsoever, but like it is a tactic that might work for some people. And you also mentioned bringing your bands to work. What genre are those?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Heavy metal bands.
Heavy metal. That's right.
Yeah. A little Americana bands
Rock
too.
out with your sock out, dude.
Yeah. And, I think one of the things as well, like you said, you could start with one thing. It might be the Swiss ball. It might be a TRX. It might be a kettlebell. It might be bands. Whatever it may be, you have something there, and now you can be creative with how you use it and set the intention of showing up for that activity. I know that Mark Sisson, he's not the only person to state this, but really awesome example of health. If you're not familiar with Mark Sisson, absolutely check out his work. He talked about micro workouts, and I think that's a really great thing for people to focus on, because the expectation of an hour or hour and a half gym sesh is a lot, and a lot of people may not see that they have that time for themselves to do that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you haven't carved out that time or committed to that level, or can't even move for that long of time. That's okay. Pick like 8 minutes of your day. This could be something that you do before you eat lunch, and you get some push-ups in, you get some squats in, you get a little jog in place, you get some marching, some different core exercises that aren't super intense. Just, again, stuff to get the pump, the flow through the body. We already had a whole episode on bouncing, shaking, wiggling, and how that relates to blood flow, lymph flow, nerve flow. All that stuff is incredibly important for just general health, and that's what we're getting at here. So, yeah.
Well said.
So what would be like a bare minimum for, let's switch it up. Jimmy's out there. Oh my God, another deer. So funny. So Jimmy's out there. Let's come up with another name.
Okay. Yondis.
Yondis. All right. So Yondis, what is the bare minimum that Yondis should be moving around throughout the day? And how should Yondis measure this?
I mean, there's a lot of options there. There's so many phone applications for daily activity logging. There's pedometers. There's all the HRV monitors like Whoop and Aura and Fitbit and these smartwatches. But honestly, like my opinion on it would be that Yondis could track it by just checking in with himself and asking him, does he feel, in an honest way, does he feel satisfied with how much he moved in that day? And really looking for an honest answer. That would be my best recommendation on it. And I would say how much with it? There's no like golden answer on that. It would again just come down to asking those internal questions of how satisfied am I with what I've done today.
Yeah, and I think another way of looking at this too is frequency. If you focus more on frequency, that volume will be there. So a simple way of looking at this, and I know this might seem like a lot to do if you're not doing any sort of activity, but do something in the morning before work or before you go off to do whatever you do during the day. Do something around lunchtime, and then do something when you get back or before bed. And this could be some really light movement. Sterling has a great little movement flow that we just put up. So you could check that out, and that'd be some simple stuff that you could do to kind of relax and restore your body after sitting a bunch or whatever you're doing throughout the day. I think the frequency is an excellent way of looking at this. If I can be more frequent with my movement throughout the day, there's more momentum, and now I'm essentially building the habit of being more of a mover or being more of a natural human.
What do you usually do in the morning?
Great question. I mean, I shared a good amount of that in our first episode. I do a lot of bouncing and shaking. I do lymphatic massage, which is basically just some basic rubbing of some specific areas on the body. I know, wow. To create circulation. And then, I'll do some joint mobilization. I'll get on the ground, do a lot of the 5 reset stuff, which is some breathing, some rocking, some rolling, and then some sort of cross crawl pattern. You can do this with marching, or you can do this with actually crawling on the ground. And that stuff's great in the morning and great in the evening because it is low intensity, and it is something that's, I would say gets you feeling more like yourself or restores natural human function. And that's going to lead to a less stressed and more relaxed body. This is going to, when you're waking up, this is going to lead to more energy. When you're going to bed, that's going to lead to you feeling more ready for bed. Yeah.
Totally.
So that's every morning is kind of different for me. I've built a habit of checking in with myself, but there are some staples, and that's going to be that massage, that self-massage, the bouncing, shaking, wiggling, and then some sort of low-intensity movement that connects my body. You mentioned all those trackers. You also mentioned, our artifact of today, which is this sweet little pedometer right here. And this is going to track your steps. That's all it does.
And more. It will track if you're jumping.
That's true. It'll track more of a pulse through your body. So you could do some bouncing, and this is going to track that. And this is a great way to measure that general daily activity without all the bells and whistles that you really don't need when it comes to tracking your activity. Like, they're nice, but a lot of this stuff is just noise, and it's going to complicate things for a lot of people, or it's going to be another thing to check your phone and kind of measure whether you're being successful or not. This gives you one number that you can come back to. And I would say the number that really sticks out to me, this is what we shoot for in the Smoov 45 fitness and lifestyle program, which is a great program for anybody to get back in shape, is 7,500 steps a day. And that might not seem like a lot, but you got to show up for it every day, and you got to hit that number every single day, and that adds up. There was something that I remember Firas Zahabi saying on Joe Rogan. Firas Zahabi is an MMA coach, and he was talking about training and pull-ups, and he talked about the one guy that does like maxes out, does like 25 pull-ups in one session, right? And then there's the guy that does 5 every day, right? Who has more volume in a given week, right? That guy that does 25, he's probably really sore. He's probably, like, oh man, I got a lot to recover from. The guy that does 5 every single day, and I'm not saying this is how everybody should train, but like anybody could train like this. You get 35 pull-ups. So you get 25 or 35, depending on what kind of volume that you're picking out on a given day. And I think that's an important thing to recognize. Do less in a given day so you can do more in a week. Do less in a week so you can do more in a month, right? And that, I know that might sound counterintuitive, but people burn out all the time. And if you're able to move every single day, that whether it's the steps you're trying to get, the reps you're trying to get, the calories you're trying to burn, whatever it is, that number is going to be a lot higher because you're not going to burn out because you set the bar low. You just show up for it every single day.
That's right. Yeah, consistency is king, right? And subtlety is king too.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is exactly what we've been saying, just not taxing the system ridiculously with like a super short bout, taking it more. So in regards to how much can you log or track in the long run, like a year, a month, a week, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, these things help a lot. And that number, right, 7,500, it's so attainable. Just like walking around the house, like doing your daily, like cleaning, like you jog so many steps on that, and like, but just be careful, right? Like maybe there's some movements that you don't want tracked. like you know what I'm saying? Like some movements, like don't be wearing this on your skin suit. That's all I'm saying. If you don't want
the nipple.
if you don't want feeling up. Also, like don't be Irish dancing a few centuries back with this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You gotta hide the Irish dance.
The no pants dance is probably a great way as well to get some general daily activity. So, but I think one of the things that you said as well, there might be a good amount of people out there that want to increase intensity, or they want to do some things that I'm losing him, that want to get into some stuff that requires one's ability to ramp things up. This is how you do it. You got to build that base. And I think that's a really important thing that's often overlooked is if you are stressed out, adding a whole bunch of like physical exercise that's really stressful is not the best thing for you. What you could really benefit from is increasing the amount of low intensity general activity that you get throughout the day. Is there a theme in this episode? Yeah, that's the episode, general daily activity. We're going to hammer it home. This is a personal story. So I lived in Oakland for a period of time, and Oakland has a high population of Asian people from different areas of the world. And there is a consistent theme with older Asian people, and that is that they keep moving. So my neighbors, like 90-year-old woman, she's gardening, right? That is amazing activity. It also gives her purpose and meaning in life, which is incredibly important for longevity. I'd go down to Lake Merritt. I'd see older Asian men and women just walking around or and doing like some walking qigong or whatever, or they'd be like posted up somewhere and bouncing, shaking, or doing some like slower qigong or whatever. And that stuff really inspired me. Not necessarily in the moment, but when I did get really stressed out by moving a bunch in high intensity ways, like training super hard and then just experiencing complete burnout from that, that was a reference point to be like, oh,
There's that.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. And these people have purpose and meaning in life. You walk by them, you smile, they smile back, and they just like, maybe they got wrinkles or whatever, but their eyes, their smile, it just feels young, right? And I think that's something that we can really learn from some of these cultures that
Live to be centurions, right? Like the people that lived the longest.
centurions,
Centenarians. Centurions. Yeah,
So
like
these people turn into centaurs.
that's right. And so, yeah, there's all these cultures, and that's a big consistency. General daily activity, the gardening. Yeah, Dr. Andrew Huberman. He talks about the blue ball zones. And these blue ball zones are places. I've had this one in the chamber since we got coffee.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so these are places. Blue ball zones are the places throughout the world where people seem to live the longest, right? Like in high amounts, there's tons of centurions. Maybe not tons, but more than other places. And gardening, qigong, tai chi, walking with friends, doing it with other people too.
Dancing.
Different classes, dancing is huge.
Oh my God.
I remember in
That's
like
a whole nother
the
episode.
Italy one,
Yeah.
like dance was really big there. And then just like recreational stuff. Like what about taking classes? And like that's like one of my biggest hacks to general daily activity is if I feel like I'm kind of losing it on a program or my morning routine of movement, nighttime routine, what I do is I just make it a non-negotiable by signing up for a class.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you're creating some sort of personal accountability there by signing up and maybe paying for something. And then there's also that social accountability, right? But it's support, right? I know some people have some weird relationship with the word accountability, but if you are lacking the ability to show up for something, one of the best ways to do that is
pay me $1 million to be your coach.
Find ways to hold yourself accountable. And one of those ways is, okay, if I show up to this class, I don't have to do anything other than show up. And then, yeah, I guess I could just stand there, but most of the time, like, you're going to want to participate, right? And there's a social, I guess, pressure to participate. But I think that's a really really great thing to focus on. Jimmy, Yondis, everybody else out there, we're summing this up with walk, do some basic movements, right? We're going to talk about squat, hinge, lunge, rotate the body,
throw,
locomote, throw, sure. Dance. This
is kind of aimed at if you live in a Neapolitan area.
A Neapolitan area? You mean strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate?
If you live in the jungle, you got to hear the rumble, yeah? And just you have even more options that are available to all of us in the Neapolitan area too. Like you can climb trees, you can crawl on the grass, you could walk on the grass, you could sprint race your friends, play recreational sports.
Totally. Sports are a great way to get general daily activity. I mean, it can be pretty intense, depending on the sport. Be careful, right? A lot of people out there getting pickleball injuries. It's probably because they're not getting that general daily activity, right?
That's right.
So if you are going to participate in sports, I think that's an important thing to recognize. Build that base up, right? And There's plenty of ways to do that.
Smoov 45.
Smoov 45. Smoov 45.
Smoov 45. We're coming in hot on 93.9 Chat FM.
Get out there, move around every single day. Get yourself a pedometer.
Mm-hmm. Invite a friend.
Invite a friend.
Or a loved one. A friend.
Or an enemy.
Family. Yeah, dude, or an enemy.
You guys can fight. Good general daily activity.
That's a good one, dude.
Turn on some music. Move to it. Let it move you. And yeah.
Those are the biggies.
Those are the biggies. I'm sure we're missing stuff, but you hopefully have hung with us this entire time and heard the massive amount of repetition. And I'm going to die on this sword. Repetition is a huge key when it comes to learning, and it also is a huge key to getting that general daily activity up, right? Repetition. That's all I got, man.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
Well, I got a lot more to say. And just so you know, this has not been edited or cut down at all. This is all raw, unfiltered. And
I'm probably going to edit some stuff.
Yeah, no, he's not. This is unedited. Yeah, I mean, what I would want to leave you with is I love you so much.
Oh my God, he's doing it again. All right, well, I guess this is going to be a staple. Sterling loves you. Jimmy, Yondis, everybody else, I love you too. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast,
so good to be off of that fucking thing, dude.
If you enjoyed this podcast, let us know in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with a friend so you guys can get outside and walk with each other.
I'm stoked for y'all to get after and get that physical activity in.
Yeah.
Delish.
All right.
Bye.
Stay smooth.